The parts we're making, it's a handle for a cutting tool, a handle adapter to be exact. My name is Paul McCutcheon, and I run my own machine shop located in Fallon, Nevada. Machinist is kind of a overarching term. There are a lot of different specialties in the machining manufacturing world. There are mold makers who make like plastic injection molds for practically every product you see at the store. You know, if it was molded plastic, it started with a mold maker. The machine is done with the last batch, so we'll come over here and we'll take the parts out that are done, and we'll put a new set of blanks in. Total runtime on the machine is 30 minutes and 31 seconds. We're making 4 pieces at a time to be more efficient. So we'll take those blanks out. Clean out the vices. Because the last thing you want is some kind of piece of foreign matter in your vise that can cause a problem with your blanks fitting in there. The other 2 blanks in, lining it up with the edge so the machine knows where the part is. When we set the machine up, we use a special tool to tell the machine where the blanks are. And so it has to be the same every time. Make sure the vices are tight. We'll close the door. And we hit cycle start. This is a Haas CM1P tool room mill. It's a 7.5 horsepower spindle milling machine, and this is what we make the parts on. I was a machinist in aerospace. It's the only thing I've ever done. I've never had any other kind of a job. Every job I've ever had has been in manufacturing. I started out machining, metalworking in junior high school. 7th grade, I took metal shop, and that was just making, the typical metal shop projects. It was little sheet metal boxes and a sheet metal tool tray. Then if you were really good, you got to make, little candle holders and stuff like that. And I took metal shop again in 8th grade and in 9th grade. Found out that in the office of the metal shop, they actually had a little bench lathe, little bitty Logan lathe. And I found out that was in there. And so I asked the new teacher that they hired after Mr. Shreve retired, and I can't remember his name, unfortunately. He was a nice guy, though. I do remember that. I asked him if I could learn to use the lathe in the office, and he let me. And that was where it really all started. Running this type of equipment was when I was in the 8th grade. My brother is a tool and die maker, and he took machine shop in high school, and he's older than I am, so I kind of saw what he was doing, and that looked really interesting. So he was doing that, and so I kind of followed in his footsteps in the trade. 1991 is when I started my own shop, and I've always done this. I mean, I worked in a few small shops while I was in high school, and then when I got out of high school, I went to work in aerospace for a couple of years at General Dynamics in Southern California. When things slowed down there in the early 90s, I went looking for a job. I got laid off. I went looking for a job, and there were no jobs for a young guy like me. And I always remember looking for work, and I had a shop owner actually tell me, why should I hire you when you've got, you want X amount of money, and you've only got a couple of years experience? And with how the industry is right now, I can hire the guy with 20 years experience for the same money. And as much as I didn't like it, it made sense. I mean, from purely a business perspective, it made sense. So there was no work. It was all, there were no jobs in this industry, really, for a guy like me at that time. So I figured, well, I always thought about being in business for myself, and I talked to my wife. We were married for about a year and a half at the time, and I said, well, what do you think? And she said, well, if that's what you want to do, that's what we'll do. So we went to our safe deposit box, and we cashed in our savings bonds, and we rented 960 square feet in an industrial complex in Rialto, California, and the rest, as they say, is history. I didn't go to college. The high school that I went to, I grew up in Fontana, California. I was born and raised there. The high school that we had there had a very impressive machine shop training program, and we were very well respected. The instructor that we had there, he was known far and wide in the machining industry, and the program at Fontana High School was known for producing people that were ready to go to work right out of the gate. It wasn't a formal apprenticeship, but employers kind of looked at it that way because they knew that people that came out of that program had a very good grasp of what they needed to do. And they instilled, a really strong work ethic in people, and then the basic of the industry. I didn't go to business school. I probably made some mistakes along the way. It does help to be married to somebody with a bachelor's degree in accounting. But me personally, no. I guess I knew enough to make it this far and still be here and still be doing the same thing. And for a lot of the same people. I mean, I have customers that I've been doing work for them for literally decades. So, they must be happy with what I'm doing. Like I say, we do pretty well now, and we have done for a lot of years. But early on, it was tough because the economy was kind of shaky, and at least with this industry. It wasn't easy to find work, and doing it all myself, really. I was looking for customers. I was doing the work. I mean, I was working nights and weekends, and because any job that I found, I had to get it done. But she's always been behind me. I know it's tough sometimes to work that hard, and you seem like you're not really making enough for all the work you're doing, especially when you're doing it all. But she's always been behind it, and that's been a huge deal. I wouldn't be where I am today without her. Some months now we make more in a month than in the early days. Sometimes I would make in a year, just starting out. But I've got a handful of really good customers, and they come to me, and that's I have good relationships with people. What people are looking for in this business is for you to solve their problems. That's what they want. And for 35 years, I've been pretty good at solving people's problems. I have a handful of loyal customers who they don't go anywhere else, and I do everything I can to keep them happy, keep their production lines going. I guess to sum it up and to wrap it up would be, and I guess my message to people would be that the American dream is not dead. If you are willing to pursue something, if you really want something, go out and do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because if you believe in yourself, there's a very good chance that you can. Don't give up, and seek out the right people and build good relationships. And my business, I have very good relationships with my vendors, people that I buy things from, and my customers, people that I sell things to. So if you're willing to pursue it and you're willing to work hard, and 5 o'clock is just a number on the clock, and there are no such things as weekends, at least in the beginning, you can do it. And it is hard work, but if you're willing to stick to it and believe in yourself, you can do it. And I think I'm an example of that.